Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 1 of week 5 of the Guildford City Fitness live stream. Hope you all had a really good weekend. There's some really cool results coming in from the challenges as always. Before we get going, just make sure your warm-up area is clear, and remember that tonight we've got a nutrition talk again on how to amend what you're eating around off-season. So, clear space, warm-up number 1, and obviously the Monday session, which we didn't have on there last week because of the bank holiday. So number 1, you're going to start with no suppressing to sit back. Same as always, 6 reps of each exercise on the warm-up with 20 seconds of jogging after every 2. So make sure you've got a drink as well. So again, if you don't feel like you're getting a lot out of dorsal plexus to sit back anymore, there's a reason why you couldn't just double it up as a lat stretch. Use a table or an elevated surface to get a bit more. So if you had some books here, you can get your hands a bit higher. Okay, then it's a further needle. If you haven't tried it yet, I would definitely recommend doing it against the wall. It's pretty humbling. Even if you don't cheat without one. Makes it a bit easier because you can push on the wall and find the right position without leaning this way. And despite my terrible demo, you're still aiming to try and get at this point, your left shoulder over the top of your right, but without leaning your body weight across your knee. Then into jogging on the spot. 2, 1, go. Okay, relax and walk out some leg swings. Just making sure that when you get to the bottom, you hold a tight press-up plank. And try and stay bent over the whole time, because all the time at the bottom just puts a bit more stretch onto your hamstrings and you gain more from it. Then into leg swings. 6 each side. Small swings to start, get some momentum going. And side to side. Again, more focusing on getting your ankle away from your body and above your hip. And side to side again. Okay, then into more jogging in 2, 1, go. Okay, and relax, and finish off with IYTW and scat press. So, again, I'll kneel just to make sure I'm in the video. But you gain a lot more from it if you sit a bit higher. Just make sure that you're squeezing your hips and your core like you're doing a plank. or even try one round without it. Just see if you can feel a difference. And make sure that you take 2 seconds going out. Just 3 times in each position. So warming up all the muscles between your shoulder blades and around your shoulder. And the scap pressure then focusing on the ones on the front of your ribs, while stretching the ones on the back. If you do go off your knees, just got to make sure that your body weight is still going up and down over your shoulder. Because if you start to go angled backwards and forwards, it takes some of the load away and defeats the point. So 1 minute of jogging to finish off. We're going to throw in some Heiny Sprints as always. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, first sprint coming up. In 2, 1, go. Relax. And then second one, in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, stop. Again, vary up the skipping if you want. Remembering your I am options. And the more variations you do within the minute, the better raised you'll get. And we're going to sprint in 2, 1, go. One more of those to finish up the minute. And 2, 1, go. And relax. Grab a drink while I talk through part 1. So you've got a bit of movement skill work to start the day. 30 seconds between rounds, 45 on, 15 off within. So the Superman's to begin with. So basically it's last Tuesday's session, but I moved it forward and changed Tuesday. So Superman, whichever variation works for you, just make sure there's no movement between shoulder and hip. Rotation plank on the spot, pulling with your belly button side to side. And then divers. So I've separated airplanes and divers so you can get a bit more practice of going down, holding that T position. And then emphasising that overhead. But the ideal rep would be down and reach overhead as you go. So you're incorporating that hip mobility and control with an overhead reach. Okay, we'll go over part 2 when we get there. Last chance for a drink. Again, to make sure your area is clear for the divers. In particular. Okay, then we're going to get going. In 3, 2, 1, go. So seeing as it's first exercise of round 1 of the week, it's better to start with the easier variation, just to kind of feel out where you're at after the weekend. Especially after some of the times that we saw from the challenges. The Saturday's one was not meant to be easy. Last 5 seconds. And then stop. 15 off into rotation plank. So make sure everything's ready. 2, 1, go. And then make sure before you switch sides, your hands are right next to each other. Just so you can guarantee that shoulder position. Okay, 10 seconds left. 2, 1, relax. Then into divers. So clear space. So make sure I fit in the camera. And 3, 2, 1, go. So easiest way, go with the Arabesque with single leg RDL. See how that feels. Build up from there, go down. Then go for the overhead reach. Then back up, again, shortening yourself as you return to normal. And then build it up so that you reach as you extend your leg. Make sure you don't fall over. 15 seconds left. The ultimate goal here is that the more control you have over what your hips do, relax, the more control you can have over that movement, the more range of motion you'll unlock around your hip and hamstring. Okay, and then we're going second leg in 2, 1, go. So again, same process. Normal RDL. Make sure you don't hit anything. If that works, then go for the reach. Just make sure that none of this moves as you go for it. If it does and you start to swivel, hold the position and just practice on the reaching. Then finally, go for the reach as you hinge forward, and then shorten it as you come back. Again, if you start to fall, fight it, and then relax. It's really important that you don't just give up and fall over, because you'll gain more strength from practicing the skill. 30 seconds off and back to the start. So back into Superman, grab a drink if you need one. And then Superman's in 3, 2, 1, go. So if round 1 felt pretty doable, you could try and progress it. So you could go half and half plank for this one. Just always make sure that you've got as much tension as you can muster from your shoulder down to your hip. So everyone watching this video should be able to hold that position without thinking about it, but while you're there you want to be pushing your hand down hard, engaging your core. And then relax. Then rotation plank. 3, 2, 1, go. So hopefully even number on each side. The slower you make each rep, the more core control you need to exert, instead of it just being about scap stability. So from there it almost feels like you're doing some sort of a side sit up. 10 seconds left. Two, one, relax. Into divers. Again, in terms of which leg you start on, just make sure it's the same. 2, 1, go. Since start trying to build a rhythm, once you're happy with your body position, again, the slower you go, the more you'll adapt and the more you'll gain from it. So if you just drop down, reach and return, it's not going to give your body as much time to start trying to reinforce those new motor patterns. So if you hold that position, you can start trying to concentrate on how straight your knee is. So if you switch over, show you what I mean. So it's fine basically for you to, if you can get into that position with a lot of bend in your knee, then you start trying to focus on achieving it with a straight knee like that. So 3, 2, 1, go. So I would probably strip it back if you need to. So even if you have to go, so if you can do this perfectly, but you're bending your knee a lot, I take it back to this. Fully extend your knee. Try and go for the reach, just like we did with the first learning. Especially if you fall over and you need to, you've got someone to reach onto. So there, straighten your knee, hold overhead, bring it back, and then stand up. And relax. That's round 2, time for a drink. So even if you only get a few repetitions on the divers, it's going to help you a lot more, but it's also going to help you double up and improving your thoracic mobility. So your ability to achieve streamline with your arms is going to become a lot easier. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So if you feel like you can always just go with a full-on Superman plank. So if you go from press-up plank and just take one hand and one foot away, and then march, switch over. Doesn't have to be a fully straight leg. Just so long as, like I said, for regression number 1, nothing moves within your shoulders and your hips for the whole exercise. So you might find it easier if you can get a straight leg, because you can get more activation, but work with what you can for now. And then relax. Onto rotation plank. So, rotation plank in 3, 2, 1, go. If you do have wrist issues, it makes it a lot easier. You can plant the heel of your hand and let your knuckles go down. So if you've got like a book or something to put your hand on that won't slip, it just reduces the angle at your wrist. Makes it much easier to handle. Last 10 seconds. And then stop. Back into divers. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. See how we get on. So in that position, for me, easier to find. Knee starts to shake and twitch a little bit. So you can also try and ease yourself into it. Let it bend, let your knee bend a little bit. And then try and see if you can find that position without the arms. Because if it's your ankle that's moving a lot, and your knee and hips trying to compensate, it means that your ankle's the weak link and it needs time to catch up. You can't force it. And then switch sides. And even if you can't go overhead, you can always try and go out to the side. So 3, 2, 1, go. So out with a straight knee. Hands out to the side. You're still taking weight outside of your center of mass. So then you can focus on hip position and leg alignment and back up. 15 seconds left. And as always, it's more important to find a position that feels slightly uncomfortable rather than force yourself into one extreme. Especially as you get to the end of a round, relax. You get to the end of a round, your knees start shaking a lot and it's even harder to keep it straight. Just relax it a little bit, but try and hold that position for longer. So part 1 done. So part 2 is upper body strength. So same as last Tuesday, press up, bent over row, dip and pull over. So get your table ready for dips. Make sure you've got a bag ready for bent over row and pull over. So you're going to make sure it's got enough weight in it for you. So that's about a minute of the rest gone. You got 30 seconds left. So push-ups can be whichever variation you want to do. But I've programmed it to be normal ones, so hands shoulder width apart, bent over row, maintaining that flat back position. And make sure you squeeze for as long as you can, as hard as you can at the top. That's the majority of the work's going to happen unless you've got a pull-up bar with weights. Dips again, elbows, lower shoulder. You've got 5 seconds left. And then pull over. I'll talk about when I get there. So 3, 2, 1, go. Fifteen seconds left. Again, wrist and elbow issues. Make sure that you've got the cushion you have. Your wrists are higher up than your knuckles. Take some of the strain away and relax. Into bent over row. In 3, 2, 1. Go. It's a slow, big 5-second squeeze at the top, and then control down. Barely any pause before you come back up. And because you're slowing the movement down, it means that you get less assistance from the elastic component of your muscles. So it's all metabolic work and muscle burn. You'll feel. If you do things explosively, you get more help from tendon stretch, etc. Three, 2, 1, relax. Into dips. So off we go in 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to start with bent knees. Make sure your core's completely straight. So for me, rather than going straight down, I'm dropping but pushing my hips back towards the table. If you want to make it harder, pause. Just make sure you don't end up in this position because you just put more strain on the connective tissue around your shoulder instead of the muscles picking up the work. We've got 20 seconds left. And then the longer you pause at that natural bottom position where your elbows and shoulders are parallel, the more you'll adapt to it. So relax there. You then into pullover. So grab your bag. In 2, 1, go. Feet in the air. Straps tied up if you're holding a bag. And you go bag overhead. Hold it for a couple of seconds. Pull it back. So in terms of challenge, you could go for alternating legs with this, so it's more like a weighted overhead dead bug. Just so long as your lower back doesn't leave the floor. Beyond that, if you try and bring your hands a bit closer, it's fine as long as you don't lose control of the object you're holding. So 3, 2, 1, and relax. So again, options. If you're doing a pullover, you want to make it more challenging, you can hold for longer at the bottom, or you can throw in alternating legs, or you can just do a double leg lower. Make sure you take a drink before round 2 starts. In 3, 2, 1, go. And then again, if you do start to fatigue, because we're trying to work on strength, it's more important that you get these muscles pushing hard. So if you start from the bottom, feet into the ground, and then take a knee before you relax. Again, you'll adapt more in the way that you want to, we want you to. As long as that push keeps your core stable like that. We're going to stop that there, go to bent over row. In 3, 2, 1, go. So within the 45 seconds, you're only really going to get 5 reps done. But that 5-second squeeze at the top, you're going to be working as hard as you physically can. So make sure that you don't try around your back to get more range, so that you're always held in that tight position. Relax there into dips. Again, change your hand position now and again just to hit the same muscle slightly differently. In 3, 2, 1, go. And the slower you move, the stronger you'll get after you recover. So try and treat that down phase as an opportunity for growth. A 3-4 second drop, 2 or 3 second pause. Back up, change your hands if you have to. Push. 3, 2, 1. Then relax there. Pullovers to finish round 2. And then 3, 2, 1, go. Other options. So we've covered advancing the overhead component. How you can then incorporate the legs, alternating. If you go with a double, you might have done them with me or heard of them before. That's technically called an Alekna. So if you wanted to make that more challenging, if you had another bag, another book, you can balance it on your shins like this. Obviously pillows aren't heavy, but it would look like this. So out, keep it balanced, hold, back to the start. So relax there, 30 seconds off before round 3. I'm sure I've been over relentless with a few of you. It's definitely worth a try if you've got another bag, or like I said, a book, as long as it's not going to hurt your shins or your ankle. It's a 10-second gap. And then push-ups in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So as always, keep repeating the same ones because there isn't that many of them, but it's quite a simple skill. Make sure your elbows don't drop out to the sides, they stay behind you, like trying to make an arrow at your head. Okay, relax. 15 off. It's a bent of a row. In 3, 2, 1, go. So if you have a heavy enough bag, you can go single arm row. The same principle. Down. Squeeze as hard as you can. Try and pull your shoulder down towards your hips. And switch sides. Again, the more you can keep this down in this direction, the more it'll stop your elbow coming up too high, but you'll feel it a lot more in your lats. Three, 2, 1, relax. And dips. It's the last pushing exercise of the day. In 3, 2, 1, go. As much as we know that we always want to try and achieve a straight leg position, for me, if that's going to stop you getting a full round of quality reps, it's better to start with bent knee. But it's also really easy to abuse. If I start really easy and just do that, you don't gain as much. So if you take the easier route on any exercise, again, I've been through this with a lot of you, you've got to slow it down. 3, 2, 1, relax. So if I show you how to set up a lat now. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. A statistics book. So weight on shins, weight overhead. So you're still making sure that no matter what, when you're in this position, your lower back doesn't arch whatsoever. And the longer you hold, so hold there, finish off strong in 2, 1, relax. done. So take a drink. Make sure if you're outside, you put your top back on, your jacket back on before you start your cool down. So 3, 2, 1. Make sure I stop my clock before I do the countdowns. So, point to consider, yeah, there's plenty of scope within the Monday session. Starts off a little bit easier than some of the other ones, but it's got a lot of scope built in for you to progress it if you feel you need to. So, Alekna's great opportunity. Superman's, at this point, most of you watching the video will be able to pull off Superman as part of a warm-up, not an exercise. So I'd hope that everyone's doing at least a plank variation. Okay, switch sides. But as always, any questions or comments you've got, send them our way. Put them in the comment section. We can try and build on that. The format's going to change again at some point, sooner rather than later. So next week, make sure you've got all your questions coming in now, so we've got a chance to put them in for next week. Couple more seconds on this side, and relax. So hamstring, we're going to go block stretch, just to see whether the diver's had any impact on my normal mobility. So we're doing a straight knee body control position in the session, so we do that in the cool down, we'll see what impact it had. So if I got the load and the reps right, it should have had a positive impact. If it was more demanding than I maybe intended it, this would be a lot harder. So it's time for one more rep. And then switch. So even if you unbox it in pieces, 2, 1, go. So you can try and go straight up as long as your back's flat. If you feel like it's really close, you can do what I did, so hand off the floor, find that straight knee position, as long as your back stays flat. Then you can try and get down, so that side's a bit tighter than the other one. Just relax, try and go back into it. So you know, you should be able to feel that higher up rather than behind your knee. And relax. Into hip stretch. Start the week with a classic. And then today I'm going to throw in some of the other ones that we want you to start considering around the neck and ankle, just so you start to put it into your routine. We only ever cover the major muscles in the group cool downs, just to make sure everyone's done something. So again here, strong core, driving your hips diagonally forward, and switch. So from here, organised, you push down after you've organised your body, because you'll get a lot more from it than if you just sit forward with that thinking and then try and fix it. Again, there's a lot of coordination elements, a lot of these things, but we kind of take for granted because they're easy to achieve. And again, when you get to that end range, make sure you're squeezing your hip. If you can't get that engagement in your glute, come back up until you can and push from there. So if you can squeeze your hip, go a bit more, and at a certain point it'll be too hard. That's how you build it up. Okay, then lats. So I use the door. Ugh. So again, using all the twisting and hip shifting that we've practiced over the last month or so. So even if you combine them, do a few seconds of one, relax, then try a different one. Make sure the door doesn't pull back on you like that. pop open. So again, health and safety, make sure that everything around you is stable and secure. And switch sides. Either that means for now I'm just going to lean onto it and do that peekaboo thing like with the table. So your head fall through. Even if you push, so an overhead push, as though you're doing a handstand or a headstand, it's going to start to, it'll start to relax some of the muscles around there when you stop. So you push, so activate, relax. You might find that you get some more range, or the stretch feels less uncomfortable. And then relax. So I'm standing up. I'll show you ankle again. So left foot back behind me. And then turn your heel in the direction of left foot's behind you. Turn your heel to the left, toes to the right. So front on view, like that. And then rear view. And you're just trying to push your shin towards the ground, so you try and get a stretch around that joint there. And then switch sides. And then similarly, you've got that as a static stretch. There's other things you can do to try and relax your shin muscles. 30 seconds. Stop, and then we'll go chest. So as always, we're saying it's elbow in the face, elbow above chest, concentrate on breathing. Again, the more you think about breathing, the more you should find yourself starting to relax. And switch sides on the table so I'm not facing away. And then sit back more as it feels more comfortable. Okay, relax. So just a quick one for you to practice. I won't go over it in too much detail now. But for the shins, if you cross one leg over the other, so you've done the static ankle stretch to try and work on range there, but a lot of it's going to be dictated by how tight your shins are. So those of you that run or have been running more, you might find that those muscles have started to hurt less while you run. So all you do is make sure that it's still mobile. So you find your shin bone and then find the muscle on the inside of that, outside, sorry. So if you're standing up, it's to the outside of it. If you just don't push, if you just lean your fingers gently into it and then move your foot around, you might find that it pushes back on them. So if you keep doing that, you might find some tender points and then you just floss them. So it's almost like foam rolling. You can do it with the foam roller, but you've got to figure out how to balance. This is quite an easy way to get into that. Or what you can do is use your thumb and then use your other hand to push it down. So heel on the ground. And then that becomes a lot harder. But same idea, you're just moving it around. You just have to feel that muscle on the outside contract and relax. It'll start to improve your ankle range of motion. So I'll leave that there for now. Like I said, make sure you're watching tonight's talk on how to amend nutrition around the off season. Again, practical advice, stuff that everyone watching should be able to run with and use. And that's going to be it from me. Make sure you're doing all your cool downs. Have a look at the challenges. So today's one is the distance time trial run. So MPS, 8K for middle, 4K for, no, don't hate me if I said that. So 5 100 meter runs for sprint group. Make sure you give all 5 times and try and constrain your rest to no more than 2 minutes between each rep. So we can see if your averages improve. 10K for distance and 5K for middle. So just do as best you can. Make sure you warm up properly and then cool down so you can go again tomorrow. And that's it from me. Have a great day, and thanks from everyone at Guildford to you for watching.